This is the third small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Ojai, California, 1970.
I don't know what you want to talk about. Where did we stop last week?
You asked us how a mind that had deep-rooted resistances, conclusions, images, was going to expose them after having pointed out that analysis was futile. How the conflicts in consciousness can be surfaced or understood or release their energy.
I have another question I've written down. Apparently, a human being must have reached a high degree of individuality before he can dissipate that very individuality. One does not know how many people here are blindly following you, or whether they have made definite decisions not to reincarnate again. Some of us are still trying to fit you into the very hierarchy you have repudiated. We not only make images, we still worship images. The finality of this whole business struck pretty hard last week. You crystallized in our minds the realization that we must turn our backs on society, which means we must turn our backs on our fellow man and must turn our backs on our own humanity or human state. But it seems to me that most people would rather hold on to the illusion of individuality than to risk the reality of annihilation. In other words, they would rather be miserable than not at all.
I don't know why we make it all so complicated, isn't it? Shall we talk over together? What is meditation? Or whether we are individuals at all, or how to transform the energy that we have which we so eagerly dissipate in all kinds of fanciful theories and suppositions and speculative ideologies, how to transform that energy into something that will be worthwhile. Now it's up, whatever you want to talk about, we will.
Transform the energy. Yes.
Yes. Surely that's part of meditation. It seems like.
We'll find out what meditation is when we can understand how we waste our energies. Shall we begin with that? How do you think we waste our energy? We have plenty of energy. Abundance of it. Both psychosomatically, intellectually, and all the responses of one's senses, one has tremendous lot of energy. Sexual, speculative, violence, brutality, aggressiveness, and so on and on and on and on. Would you consider all that as a waste of energy? Speculative theories, however gratifying, and trying to find truth in speculative opinions, isn't it a waste of time and energy? And that's what most of us are doing, aren't we? No? We have formulas. Concepts, opinions, theories. Should be this way, it should be that way. On the whole, this speculative thought appears to be such futile waste of energy. And yet we live in them. We live with these speculative thoughts. So can we put those aside first? No? What do you say, sir? I'm not.
I think we arrived at it because somehow we get nowhere, so we try to do something.
No, but I've told, we're talking of energy and the wastage of energy. One needs a great deal of energy to meditate in the right meaning of that word. And if you are to go into this question of meditation, if you wish it, one must have a great deal of unwasted energy. Conflict is a waste of energy, isn't it? War, whether it's war in Vietnam or in the Middle East or various parts of the world, or conflict within oneself. Our lives are a battlefield. No? You're all rather silent. What am I to do? Conflict in various forms, husband and wife, sexual conflicts, the conflict of good and bad, the conflict of trying to live a virtuous life, the conflict of control, suppression, the conflict of living according to a principle. The conflict of holding on to some memory, however pleasurable. The conflict of ambition, fulfillment. All these conflicts, obviously, are a wastage of energy. And without putting order or bringing about order, you are talking about meditation has very little meaning. It's like having perfect disorder in one's house and going out and preaching order. Huh? Where are we? Now, how do you put an end to this disorder in oneself? Which brings about such contradiction in oneself and effort and the endless battle that goes on, which is called living. How do you bring about order in this?
So meditation.
Huh?
So meditation.
What do you mean by that word, sir?
I see that contradiction of disorder is more disorder. That's one of the steps.
What are you to do, sir? When there is disorder, what do you do? Don't let us speculate to say that is meditation, that is this or that. That's no meaning. Here I am in disorder. One's life is in disorder. Isn't your life in disorder?
Yes.
Oh, for God's sake, let's wake up. Huh? And what do you do about it? I should have thought that would be chief concern. Now, to bring about order without conflict is the problem. Right? All right, sirs. I find my life living, the daily living, the daily conflict in relationship, the daily conflict between various images which is myself, which is in me. This conflict creates disorder, contradiction. And this contradiction brings about conflict. I realize that. I mean, that doesn't need a great deal of intellectual study. It doesn't, you don't have to read 1,000 books to find that out. Or follow anybody. Hierarchy or no hierarchy, or you can scrap all that and see. Now there is this disorder. And I see very clearly, to bring about order, there must be no effort whatsoever. Right? No, please, no, don't agree verbally, but see the truth of it.
Then we'll have to start drifting.
No, you do it first, madam. Don't. That's another speculation. That we shall start drifting. Aren't you drifting now? Good God. Aren't we drifting? Such wastage of life.
How
So-
does one stop drifting?
And not at all. Drifting isn't the problem. The problem is disorder in oneself, which you are unwilling to face. And if you do face it, what is one to do? Because if this disorder in one's life, which breeds, sustains such conflict and misery, one has to find out how this disorder has come about. No? If you don't find out, you're drifting. You're playing, you're just playing around.
How are we going to find out?
Now, wait a minute. So, first of all, are we very clear, each one of us, that there is disorder in us? Not that we are supreme beings, that we've had marvelous experience, that we are, all that rubbish, but actually, are we aware of this disorder? Which we transmit to our children and to our grandchildren, and through education we create such mess. Right. Now, if one is aware that one is in disorder, then what is next question? Go on, sir, it's your problem, not mine.
The question, I guess, is how do we create that disorder? How does it come about?
Not only that, but also, is order possible? There are two questions involved. How does it come about that there is such disorder in one's life, and becoming aware of that disorder, one says, what am I to do? Right? Apparently that doesn't interest you.
If one has decisions to make, if a person has decisions to make, can he ever get himself in order?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out what are the causes of this disorder, and in what way does it happen that order comes out of this, right? Without effort. That must be very clearly understood. If there is effort, there is disorder, right? Because effort has produced all these disorders. So first, let's find out how does this disorder come in our lives? Is it heredity? Is it natural to have this disorder in human beings? Is it divine gift with which we are given, and we must accept it and die with it? How do you find out the cause of these disorders? Okay.
Well, it seems like you have to stop and look at what's happening as you feel this sense of conflict.
Do you find out the various causes of this disorder through analysis? And even if you are able to find out all the contributory causes to this disorder, will the mere discovery that these are the causes that produce it, will that dissipate the disorder? Right? Then what will you do? If the uncovering of the disorder, the causes of the disorder, you have exposed, you have seen, understood the reality of this disorder, and discovering the cause of it, will that discovery dissipate disorder?
No, create more.
I don't know. You have to find this out.
You said yourself that effort is the cause of disorder. And we started.
I find I'm jealous. That is one of the contributory causes of disorder, jealousy. Now, why am I jealous? I'm jealous because my wife, my husband, is not what I thought. All the rest, jealousy. You all know jealousy. Now, I've found out the reason. And will the cause of the jealousy dissipate jealousy? What will dissipate it?
To be aware of it when it is.
Go into it, sir. Find out. I'm angry, violent. One can find out the causes of violence. The animal in us, the lack of space, the utter meaninglessness of existence as it is lived, the futility of living a life which has no meaning except intellectually, and therefore one has to explode somewhere, and so on and on and on. I can tell you half a dozen causes of violence. Then what? Will you be free of violence?
No.
Huh?
No.
No. Then what will you do?
It seems like there's
Huh?
there's a common denominator. If you look at just the reasons for the violence or the jealousy, it seems like there's a common something to all of it, which is the mind is moving, and it's not that the analysis is important.
No, sir. Look, you're violent, and you have found the cause of it.
Through
That's-
analysis.
It doesn't matter, through analysis, through watching it, you have found the cause of it. Will the discovery of the cause dissipate violence?
No.
Then what? So you realize the futility of merely seeking the cause. Right? The cause can be explained by 10 different people in 10 different ways. The biologist will do it one way, the scientist will do it another way, the religious person will do it one way, and so on, so on, so on. But at the end of these many explanations, man still remains violent. They write volumes about violence, and the man is still hating each other, burning each other, killing each other. So, the mere explanation or the discovery of the cause doesn't dissipate violence. You see the truth of it, not just the verbal statement, but the fact that the cause doesn't release the mind from violence. Right? So, I've searched for the cause and I have discovered the cause, and the truth that cause, they understand, no, the discovery of the cause doesn't dissipate violence. I've seen the truth of it. So I won't anymore search for the cause of things.
Which is a tremendous release of
I don't know, sir.
Effort.
You do it. Because searching for the cause is a waste of energy. When I'm violent, I don't say, now, why am I violent? What are the reasons of violence? It's like a house burning, and you say, who set on house on fire? And had he a beard? Is he an American or a Russian, a communist, a socialist? By the time the house is gone. Right? No? So it's a waste of energy to search for the cause and explain about the cause, right? So there is a release of energy, or the stoppage of wasting of energy in seeking the cause and explaining the cause. Yes? Can we go on from there? No, do it, sir. It's like saying, you hate me or I hate you, and I'm trying to find out the cause of my hating you. Oh, it's so very clear. Why this? The point is to end hate. Now, can this hate, violence, anger end without any effort whatsoever?
I don't quite see how you can separate the cause from the ending, especially when you just mentioned hatred, because in the example of hatred you might have prejudices about the person you hate.
Oh, that's all in there.
But which, if you understood, then it would dissolve immediately. I should think. I can't quite see that.
Let us look at it this way, if we may. We were talking about disorder. And we said, looking to the cause of disorder is a waste of energy. We took the example of violence in different forms of violence: hate, jealousy, ambition, greed, the desire to be somebody, to be a leader, to all the rest of it is a form of violence, obviously. Our prejudices are violence, and so on. Now there is this disorder, and we see the cause of the disorder doesn't resolve disorder. I'm very clear on that matter. No amount of other people saying, oh, look at the cause and discover the cause and you will be free of it. But I see that is not possible. So I'm free of something which man has foisted upon himself. No? Okay. Right, so shall we go on from there? Therefore, there is disorder. And we want to bring order out of that. Don't we? Oh Lord, don't any of all. We're too tired, very soft.
Would it not imply the contradiction again?
I don't know what it implies, sir.
If I want to make order,
I see I'm in disorder. My house is in disorder. What am I to do? And also I realize effort is another form of disorder. Right? So what am I? See the difficulty, sir. There is disorder. I'm used to making effort to bring about order. The exercise of will, decision, saying this is, I must not do this, I must do that. Yes, sir?
Will it come about when you become quiet?
No, then how am I to become quiet? When there is a roaring noise going on in me, how am I to become quiet? Which is, then I have to make an effort to be quiet. Right? Huh? How am I?
By staying with the disorder, really staying with it, then it's dissipated.
I don't quite understand.
If you stay with the disorder,
What do you mean stay with the disorder?
well, just don't try to escape from it in any way.
We have a blueprint of order, don't we? No?
You do not even know what order is.
We have an idea or an inclination or a suspicion or a theory what order should be. Haven't we?
Well, I think you dropped that here with a disorder.
No, wait, madam. First see, there is disorder and we have an idea what order should be. No?
Vague, very vague.
Whether it's vague, whether it's definite, whether it is just floating in the clouds, we have. No?
That's the best English that's good.
No?
We have an awareness of what disorder should be.
Yes,
Or
what
there should
order
be.
should be. Same thing. Wait, there is disorder and we think we can have, we have an idea, a feeling what order should be. Now, isn't that a contradiction? When there is disorder, why do you have any other idea about it? You see, you're moving away from what is to something which is not. That is what we are doing all our life.
We're going to the opposite.
Which is the same. There is disorder, and we think we have a feeling that should be some kind of order. And we've already have a plan what order should be. I think we must not be jealous, we must not be angry, we must not be sexual, we must not be this and that, and there are 10 different things. Which is moving away from actually what is. Right? Why do we do this?
Disorder is
What?
painful.
Huh?
Disorder is painful.
No, why should it be painful? Because you approach it with an idea that it must be pleasurable. You see, that's
I experience it. That I bring about conflict to my inward disorder.
yes.
I bring about mischief.
No, madam, écoutez. I mean, not at all. Just look. I am in disorder. That's a fact. Why should I have any opinion about it? Why should I go away from it and say this should be and this must not be? Why do I say, oh, when I look at this disorder, I have pain?
It's not just the looking, the expression of it.
I don't know what the expression of is till
I'm sorry, but
you cannot possibly know what the expression of this disorder is. And sorry, you already know the expression of this disorder is, which is part of violence, part of hate, part of pleasure and pain and all that. No? No, look at this principle, which is we are moving away from actually what is all the time. I don't like what is, and I'm going to do something else. What's that?
Then that, well, it's just that then it's the running away.
So you're running away, avoiding it, resisting it, and in resisting it you say it's painful, or you like it, therefore it's pleasure, and therefore you might lose it, and therefore fear, and so on, so on. Why can't we look at this disorder? Not try to transform it, not try to make some more mess out of it.
Well, it's the truth. And we don't like to think that the truth, it can be disorder.
About the truth?
Well, the truth is we are in disorder.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Let me look at it, let me understand it. Not try to change it, not try to beat it to... Let me look and understand it, right?
I think we judge the phenomenon we experience because it's been named.
We are going to it, madam, presently. We are going into this question of disorder and observing this disorder. To observe this disorder, there must be no outward movement away from it. Right? But you are. You're always moving away from it. We don't like it, it is good, it's bad, or it's not fashionable, it is respectable, it's not. You follow? We name it, we say this is appalling, how terrible, and
Well, we condemn ourselves.
That's the same thing. So naming, condemning, justifying, suppressing, resisting is a movement away from what is. Now, can you see this truth of this? That moving away from it is the major factor of disorder.
Intellectually, I can see that.
Huh?
Intellectually.
No. Intellectually is not to see at all. You mean intellectually say, I understand. You mean, I hear what you're talking about. I grasp the meaning of the words which you are using. I mean, you don't say intellectually I understand when you see a danger, do you? No. Why? Because when you see a danger, your whole nervous organism, as well as your mind and everything of your being, is aware of the danger. Therefore, there is instant action. Here, you don't look at it, you don't give your complete attention, therefore you say, I intellectually understand it, or I emotionally feel it is so. Because really, it doesn't mean a thing to you, all this, really. You spin along. So this is a fact that moving away from what is or brings about great disorder. Now, if you see the truth of it, not the cause and the truth of this simple fact, look, I am dull. That's a fact. How do I know it as a fact? How do I know that I am dull? Because I see you are much cleverer than I am. Much sharper, much more alive, tremendous energy and all the rest of it. I only know I am dull in comparison with you, right? Right? But if I don't compare myself with you, am I dull? Huh? You say I am? If I don't compare?
Well, not in the sense of the word where you could say I'm dull in comparison, but you would still be what you are.
That's all. Don't call it dull.
Okay.
That's what we do. I am what I am when comparison ceases. Comparison tells me I am dull. And I make tremendous effort not to be dull. But I'm still dull after reading 1,000 books, attending all the societies, all that nonsense. I'm still dull. So, am I aware of my dullness through the word? See all the complications of it. Or through comparison. If the word dull didn't exist, if the comparison didn't exist, would I be what is called dull? I wouldn't. I would be what I am, or whatever that is. Right? So in the same way, the thing which I have called disorder, in comparison to what I consider order, are following all this? And I have called this disorder because I have been able to compare. And in comparing, I have brought about fear of disorder. And without naming it, without trying to transform it, without trying to resist it and call it is ugly, it is brutal, it is terrible, I must do all that, which is moving away from what is, can I look at it without verbalization? Which is, can I look at it with a mind that is freed from the word, freed from the word which is used, which has been brought about in comparison. I am dull.
But you say this is a terrible world.
No, that's a description, madam. It is a terrible world. The description is not the described. Go to India, or if you see the films of Vietnam, it is a terrible thing that's going on, no question about it. Terrible in the sense, frightening, appalling, use any word you like. It doesn't mean that I'm condemning it. It's so. The house is on fire. It is a fact. So can the mind observe this so-called disorder? Look what has happened. The disorder which I think is disorder in comparison to what I think is order, so I only know disorder through comparison, and that order is a fixed principle of like and dislike. I don't know if you're following all this. You don't know what you're missing all this. I am sure you don't know what you're missing, but it doesn't matter, I'll go on. So, only you know disorder through comparison. And that's the truth you have found. So you say to yourself, by Jove, can I look at what I have called disorder without verbalization, without comparison? Now, to look at it without verbalization means without the memory of what I have considered order. Because memory projects thought which condemns what it considers disorder. Is this getting too complicated? No. So are you doing it with, are we doing it together? So thought which says this is disorder because I know what order is. Order is the bourgeois world. Order is to do no harm, to speak kindly, to be gentle, you follow? We've already laid down the pattern of order. And having that in mind, you compare that with what you call disorder, which is contradictory to what you think is order. No? So can you put away what you think is order? Because that creates conflict. Measure, comparison must inevitably create conflict. So, a mind, follow all this please, if you are willing, if you are interested. If you are not, it's all right, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. A mind starts out, says, the world is in disorder, is in confusion. The world is extraordinarily brutal. And the world is me. I am the world. As a human being, I have created this monster, which is called society. And that society is me. I am not different from the society which I have created. And this outward society and the inward society is in a state of confusion, violence, hope, fear, despair, great burdening sorrow. No. And that is disorder. Please follow all this step by step, otherwise if you don't do it, you won't come to the point which we are coming to. And that is me. That's me. I am in disorder. And also I see that disorder exists because I have an idea what order is. So I am comparing what I think is order with what I consider disorder. No? So what? And I see the fallacy of that, which is that I am moving away from what is all the time. And I see the truth of it, the fact of it. Now, what has happened to the mind, your mind, not my mind, your mind, that has watched this thing from the beginning, the world order, disorder, for which you are responsible, and so on, step by step, till you have come to this point when you see what you consider without moving away from it. What has happened to the mind that has come to that point?
It's still in conflict as long as it continues to see this pattern of what it thinks we're real.
No, we have rejected the pattern.
It becomes more and more clear, doesn't it?
I don't know what has happened to your mind.
Certainly is quite.
Look, you walked, you climbed a mountain, taken step by step, you climbed it. What has happened when you reached the top of it? Or rather, reached a certain point of it? Huh?
You get a good view.
You get a good view, don't you? You see things very clearly. Are you doing that now?
Starting.
Talking? Talking is not clear view.
She said starting.
I said starting.
She
Huh?
said
It's
starting.
starting. I said
Beginning.
starting, beginning to get a view.
You're beginning to get a view? Why beginning? If I may ask, why a beginning? The beginning was when you saw the world in mess and yourself in mess, in confusion. You are the world. So there is the beginning.
Yes, but if you climb the mountain, the higher you go, the more you see.
Yes,
So
we
I'm just
have we
a
have
little bit
climbed.
up.
We have climbed. We have begun there and we have been climbing. You see that strong simile. See, I'm afraid it's a totally wrong simile. That implies a gradual process. I began, and now I've reached a certain point of clarity, which is all nonsense. And therefore, climbing becomes an effort. You follow? Moving up and up and up and up, till you have, I don't know, the highest peak and you see everything very clearly. You follow the distance you have traveled? Which means time. And in that interval, between the valley and the highest peak, there are all kinds of disturbances going on. Your own, other people's, circumstances, ecology, and So it's totally wrong simile and totally wrong approach. Which is to see the truth as you go along, not go along, see the truth each minute. The truth that the world is you and you are the world. Right? That's the truth, not an idea, actually so. The truth that you have built this society. Through your violence, through your, all the rest of it. What you are, the society is obviously. That's the truth. The truth is that you are in disorder. And the truth is that this disorder comes about through comparison with what you consider is order. You have not progressed, not climbed, you have seen truth. You have understood each thing completely as you. So, when the mind is not moving away from what is, moving away, you have tremendous energy. No? Because you have dissipated energy in moving away. Saying this is right, this is wrong, this should be this way, he should do that, I should do this. Condemning, judging, evaluating, suppressing, resisting, trying to transform what is into what you think should be. All that is waste of energy. when the mind sees the truth that is a wasting energy in this way, there is no question of the abundance of energy.
Then what are you going to do with all that energy?
Have you got it, madam?
Yes, I have quite a lot of energy.
No. Your physical energy, which is also necessary. But we are talking about psychological energy. You can have very good meal, eat the right food, watch yourself, and you have an extraordinary physical energy. And that energy you can go around creating a great deal of mischief. Spreading what you think is truth, what you think is meditation, because one has read some potty little book or whatever it is. We are not confusing physical energy, which is necessary, with psychological energy. When the psychological energy is misused, the physical energy is directed towards that misuse. It's also clear. I don't know what's the problem in all this. So there is only one energy, physical and psychological. And the psychological energy uses physical energy for its own violence, for its own protection, for its own grandeur, for its own all the rest of it. And that is where the mischief lies. So when you have this tremendous energy, both psychologically as well as physically. Right? Have you? Well, sirs, what do you say?
Well, if you stop working for all the causes...
Stop working for all the causes.
As if you do, of course you don't like the word if.
Not I like or dislike. Why, go on, madam. If you want to help others, is that it?
No. Help. Well, save the trees and the beauty of the world, and work with the conservation groups and the humane groups and all of that sort of thing that...
Look. Go and help them then, if you want that kind of stuff.
Stuff, is it?
It is stuff. Look, the world, there is much bigger issue than mere conservation and all the rest of the thing they're talking about every morning, ecology, saving the pollution, and all that. You can do all that, and yet human beings in conflict. That has to be done. Forests have to be saved. Pollution has to be stopped. Atmosphere must be cleaned. That's obviously it must be done. But nobody apparently seems to see the importance of bringing about peace in oneself. Nobody wants it. They want peace in Vietnam, Middle East. But throw bricks at each other at home. So, now you have this great deal of energy. You know what that means? Hmm?
You have freedom how to spend it.
Huh?
You have freedom how to spend it.
Oh no. No. Okay. Who are you to spend it? I'm glad you put that question, sir. It shows that one has really not understood this quality of energy. That is, this energy comes when the sensor is not. When the observer is the observed. Look, sir, there is disorder, and you know the disorder through comparison. Who is comparing? The sensor, right? The sensor is the result of comparison. The center from which he says, this is right, this is wrong, this should be, that must not be, this must be changed, this should not be changed, this is pleasure, this is this, and from that center he is observing disorder. And that center is the measure of comparison. And that comparison and the measure is the past. Obviously. The past or the future. The future being what it should be. Right? So, the sensor, the observer, the thinker separates himself from disorder because he thinks he should have order. I'm following all this. And from that, he says, this is disorder, and therefore condemns it, resists it, fights it, tries to change it into what it should be. What should be is according to what he thinks should be, which is another duality. So he, the sensor, the observer, the thinker, the experiencer, the analyzer, is the center of conflict. Right? So when the center is not, there is no conflict. And you have and there is a great deal of energy. Now, what will a mind that has got this extraordinary energy do?
It doesn't act anymore from the center.
What?
It doesn't act anymore from the center.
You are just speculating on this. It's a really very interesting question if you go into it. You know, sir, you all dream, don't you? You all have dreams. Huh? Right. Or in all those dreams, action is taking place, isn't it? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh? Why? Huh? No answer?
How do you mean why? I don't quite.
Why this action? Always in dreams.
Well, the mind
It's
is
not-
chattering,
No.
even at night.
Because we haven't acted out another time.
It's energy trying to dissipate itself.
And no stillness.
In your daily life, you're concerned with action, aren't you? Hmm? You must do something. Join this group, that group, sit this way, that way, do right meditation, gather people to understand, study, do, aren't you? And how to be silent, how to become an activist, how to be contemplative. Join the the monastery, which they don't talk at all, but act. You follow? Then what is the difference between the daily living and the sleep in which you dream? Isn't any, is there? Huh? Watch it, sir. Go into it. So, dreams in sleep and dreams in wakened state is action. Right? Now, what is action? What is action? Do watch it, sir. Do so clear. If you look, do listen to the question first. Don't answer it right off. What is action? Not only the action of coming here, going back to your home, the action of your going to office, the action of, act. What is action?
Movement.
Moving what?
Moving away from what is.
No,
It's a sort of habit energy, isn't it?
do look at it, madam. Consider it. Get involved in it.
Expression of the need.
No, sir, this is too impossible.
It's
So,
the only way we know of
This is one of the
expending
most
energy.
this is one of the most important questions man has been asking. We're not just a room full of people saying this is action. Ask it, find out. What is action?
Physical energy. Physical energy.
I don't know, madam, just consider it. Action.
It seemed like a directed energy, an energy which is being used toward some end.
Right.
Working.
Look at it, sir. Look at it. As long, when there is a motive, it has a certain action, right? I want to help people. God knows why, but I want to help people. And that produces certain activity. I want to go home. So on. Is that what we consider action? Cause, a motive, effect, right? The effect becomes the cause, And that cause produces another effect, a chain. Causation, effect, that which has produced, that which is the effect becomes the cause for another effect. This is so clear. And so on. We are caught in this chain. No?
Is this not a reaction rather?
Whatever it is, the action. Act. We want to act. So I'm asking myself, and you are, what is action? Huh?
Life.
What is life? This battle, this conflict, this pretension to be somebody, to impress somebody, all this mask one puts on, hypocrisy, pretension. Huh? Is this what we call life, which produces action? My glands and cells are working very well, and therefore I throw bricks at the establishment, burn up. And I consider that's the only action, that's the only revolution. My glands and my ideas are not so active, and so I say, well, I must become a contemplative. And so on, so on. So I'm asking myself, what is action?
What is wrong with the expression of the me, action?
Is that all you know of action?
This action, what you describe now.
The expression of me, of the sensor,
Yes.
of the observer, and when he acts, he creates a great deal of mischief. And that's all I know, we know. And that's what we call action. The communist actions and so on, so on. I see all that said. Is that all action? Is that action? Is that the entire action? Then what is action? One is only dealing with action in a segment of action. A fragment of what we consider action. What is total action, in which there is no fragmentation? Because unless the mind discovers the truth of total action, fragmentary activity is bound to create mischief, conflict, misery, not only to the particular individual, but to the community, to the society. So it is imperative that we find out for oneself what is total action in which the fragmentary action doesn't exist. You got the picture now? You got it?
Yeah.
And the fragmentary action must produce dreams in which action are also fragmentary. And then you have all the racket behind it, the dream analyzer. So what is action which is completely total? In which there is no friction. You follow? No contradiction. No effort.
Just being.
What do you mean by being? You see, that word is a dangerous word. Being, to be. And that word, to be, the verb, is the most corrupting verb. No? I am, I have been, I will be. I've already conditioned myself. Right? Oh, doesn't matter. So what is total action? I know what is fragmentary action. Fragmentary action is when I act as a Hindu, or as a Catholic, or as a communist, or as an individual who is not an individual, but many fragments which are called individuality. So I know all those activities. The family activity. I am an artist, I have my own activity, must have a school, I am an educator. You follow? All fragmentary activities we are very familiar, and which produces great confusion and misery and all the mischief in the world. And so I'm asking myself, what is total action? Not for you to judge what is total action when I act and say, oh, that's not total. That's no meaning. You following what I'm saying, all this? You have an image of what total action is. I haven't. And we're going to find out. Explore, discover, that is, communicate, that is, share together what it is. What is it? If I may use a word, don't jump on it. Don't translate it. Don't beat it around. It has been beaten around enough. It has been misused enough. It has been spat upon, and every advertisement uses it. Every husband talks about his love for his wife and family, for his God, for his belief, for his country. So, if we can use the word love, is that total action? Not the word. Therefore, I have to find out what that word signifies, what is behind that word. Right? What is behind that word? I can only find out, the mind can only find out what it is through eliminating what it is not. Through negation, come to the positive. Not through the assertion of the positive. Right? Can we go? Love is not jealousy. Love is not envy, greed, ambition. It's not a thing of thought. It's not a thing of pleasure or desire, which is entirely different from joy, enjoyment. So, love apparently is the only action which is total, in which there is no fragmentation as the me and the you, we and they. Now, all this implies meditation, doesn't it? Because to observe anything completely, totally, one must observe it. There must be observation without a movement of thought. To observe a tree, a flower, without the movement of thought. Thought being the past, memory, experience, knowledge. The mind emptying itself of the known. And it empties itself of the known by observing from the very beginning society, your relationship to it, all that, from the very beginning observing, and therefore emptying of everything which is not true. And what we have is nothing but falsehood. Is not what is. And to observe what is, the mind must be empty of all thought and therefore silent. This silence is not product of time or culture or practice, sitting down and gathering together a few of us and learning how to meditate, which is also infantile. Sorry. There are all over the world now becoming more and more fashionable meditative groups. You know that word guru, you all use it, don't you? You know it, the word. Do you know what it means?
One who points out.
In Sanskrit, it means several things. Among them, one is one who points out. Like a signpost points out. He doesn't take the responsibility. He just says, there it is. It's up to you to take it, leave it, walk, don't walk, sit under it, put garlands around it and kick it around, whatever you like. It points. And one of the other meanings is one who lightens your burden, takes away your burden. But generally gurus impose their own burden. You follow it? Because he is also full of theories and ideas and full of what should be. So he imposes his burden onto the poor disciple. So the disciple has not only his own burden, but also the added burden of the guru. Right? So the guru doesn't lighten his burden. He gives him some more. So please, I am not your guru. Right? Don't, as this lady said, people follow you. Don't. Follow somebody else if you must. The crazier they are, the better for you to follow. Because this meditation means something extraordinarily serious. Not sitting in a posture doing all the tricks of the trade. Unless there is complete mathematical order. Not the order that you have, which is the comparative order. Because the mind, I've been through that, but an order in which there is no touch of contradiction, no touch of virtue. Right? Are you getting it? No touch of virtue. Aren't you all shocked? No? Because order is by itself, virtue is man-made. The social order, the social morality is immorality. So when you have really understood, seen the truth of all this, then the mind then is free to meditate. But the meditation is from the beginning, not at the end. Is that enough? Any more questions? This last discussion. Sorry.